Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, normally at 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And what do I mean by that when I say that? I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice a week long form podcast, because I want to put the right information out there from the people who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I always proudly fly this American flag with me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. We are live a little bit early today. It's 7:30 a.m. Central out here right now because I'm out at the road right now at Freight Fest. My man Ramel Watley puts this amazing event on. You guys, it's the second annual one. It's out in Houston, Texas, and Ramel is one of the few podcasts in the industry that I listen to religiously because I love the stories, that resonate with my story, right? Like, as a bootstrapped founder, as somebody who's building up all of this now I don't want to say by myself, but like trying to figure this stuff out on my own. It's great being around this group of people that is here. I had the pleasure of meeting my man Jory Myers last night. You guys, he's big over on Clubhouse. Go drop him a follow as well. I love his content. I got to fortunately spend some time with him yesterday, and looking forward to seeing him here again this morning. Tracy St. Clair watching over on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. But hey, you guys, before we go any further and dive into today's Q&A show, and I know the lighting's a little off, you guys, but I'm trying. The sun's coming up on my laptop here. I'm making it happen. But before we go any further, you guys, as always, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers. And we all like making money too, because that's what you get with VHub. Is you can go on their platform, vhubapp.com, and check out their repositionings to get paid to move these trailers. That's right. That's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading these trailers out. So what they're working on right now, you guys, they have they have 20 drive-ins in Lafayette, Indiana. Needing to get down to Lake City, Florida, you get $420 US to move those. They have some drive-ins in Vegas. Needing to get to Brunswick, Ohio, you get $900 US to do that. They have San Diego, California, which I'm going to be in later on today, going to Springfield, Mass, and you get $1,530 US to move that drive-in. And then they have a couple needing to go up to Canada, Evansville, Wisconsin, going over to Mississauga, Ontario for $500 Canadian. And then finally, they have Parkland, Florida, going up to Milton, Ontario, and you get $1,500 US to do that. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. My man Zach Lonergan and my friend Stacy Steen, they'll be in the audience. Just do me a favor, let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. All right, you guys. Hey, Stephen Thompson, thank you for tuning in. Byron, what's going on? Good morning. So I'm out here at Freight Fest today, out in Houston. I'm talking on a panel with a couple of other freight brokers today, talking about the current state of the industry. My friend Matt Perkins, my man Desmond Clark, even though he did play for the Bears, and I'm a Green Bay Packers fan through and through, but I get to talk with him, and then I get to talk with. Give me just 1 second here. I'm sorry. The sun's really starting to bother me. Hold on one second here. Sorry about that. All right. Anyways, back into the show. And we're going to be talking about freight brokerage here today. And Tyson, I'm sorry, I'm my man Tyson as well. He'll be on there. We're just going to talk about the state of the industry today, and that's a lot of what's going on out here. At least with the welcome reception that they held last night, and meeting some of the individuals who are going to be presenting, speaking, and that are attending here. From all sides of the industry. There's a couple of lawyers that are here to talk about that. There's a guy who built up, a tire company out of Richmond, Virginia. He's out here. My friends from Finlock and FinPark. They're here as well to talk about that side. Kyle Lintner's out here talking about the current state of the industry. My man Adam Wingfield is here too to be on that panel, as well as Dean Croak. He's here to talk about that as well. And, it's just a good environment. And I love the grassroots feel of this event, right? Because again, like I was saying, is I'm self-funding my ventures, and I'm figuring it out every single day, how I increase my revenue to continue to grow and keep my dreams alive. And I get that feeling here a lot. And I love being a part of this. I really do. It's, it's exciting to just come to these events and just be around other industry professionals who are just trying to live out their dream. And, like I say every single day about trying to get my slice of the American dream, because it's true, I'm living it, right? Like this country, and this industry is built off of the backs of small business. The statistics don't lie. 97% of the trucks on the road that are for hire are 20 truck or less operations. And, the freight brokers that are out there as well, the majority of them are small business. They're, 10 million or less in revenue and everything. And, some of these people, out there might not understand, but it takes a lot to get to that point, right? Like we're coming up on, it's going to be October here on Sunday, and, in Freight Coach Logistics, which I'm an agent for SPI Logistics out there. Shout out to them. If you guys want to become a freight agent, hit up my man, Mike Mikulik, or hit me up and I'll put you in contact with them. But, we're coming up on 10 months in business, and, seeing the growth that's out there and seeing the opportunities that are out there are, I think the best way to describe the journey of entrepreneurship, in my opinion, is, it is truly a day by day. It is truly a brick by brick mentality, because you're going to have days where like everything's great. Everything's firing on all cylinders. You're adding shippers, you're moving loads, you get positive things, and then bam, next day, nothing. Day after that, nothing. Day after that, nothing. Day after that, nothing. And that can go on for what seems like forever in the moment. And it is one of those journeys that it's over sensationalized at times, but like you should never not go for it if you want. If you want to start your own business, there is no better time than right now, outside of 20 years ago, which, again, I was 17, so I can't do that. But to me, it is, every time is a good day to do it. And anybody who talks you out of it, just don't listen to them. Again, it's not always going to be perfect. As my man Byron says here, not every day will be perfect. And that's a fact. Frank McCabe, what's up, brother? Happy Friday to you as well. But it's not going to be easy. And, but the thing is if you want to start now, because it's not going to get any easier the longer you wait. And, I think that there's a lot of value in not having any other option but to make it work. Andy Frisella, Real AF podcast, I listen to it every single day. Go check him out, but he talks about this a lot. It's zero options mentality. And that, I think, is probably the best piece of advice that you can receive when you're starting, right? Because not everybody, I know you see companies out there who raise capital, who have, seemingly, quote unquote, an easier path, which they don't, but, you can't have any other option but for it to work. And that is something that, again, one of the things that I took to heart from Andy Frisella's teaching out there on his podcast, as well as, unfortunately, I got accepted into a group called the Arte Syndicate, which he runs with another great individual by the name of Ed Milet, who is another phenomenal follow out there, because these guys have built real businesses. And, a lot of the individuals who are out here who are building real businesses. And you know what? You might be an entrepreneur. You might be a sales rep for somebody, or you might be a carrier rep for somebody, or whatever that looks like. Having a zero options mentality, I feel like, is the only way that things are going to work. You got to burn the boats. You have to be fully committed to what you are doing, because if you're not, like, there's not a, you can't like be 25% in because you got all of these other things that are going on out there and you're distracted, because otherwise you're going to get steamrolled by individuals who show up and just do freight every single day. And especially, because I talk about that niche, who just do flatbed freight. every single day, you're going to get absolutely demolished by people like me and, Chris Brewer over at River City Logistics, Matt Hero over at Fresh Freight, Cody Kaler over at A&Z. Those guys just do their niche and they are all in on that stuff. And you can be as well. And that's what you need to do. That's what that zero options mentality is my plan A, it's going to work. My plan B, it's going to work. And that is it. That is the only way that I attack this stuff every single day. And I know that that's kind of a long-winded thing. And I know today's Q&A day, and it kind of ties into the first question. But, I just want to put this stuff out there because, it's not easy, right? And I'm somebody who's in the trenches, somebody who is making it work, somebody who is, fighting through this every single day. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy, but it is the most rewarding journey that I think that you can truly take. And I know the lighting's kind of going out here, you guys. And again, I'm trying to make this all work because my commitment is to go live every single weekday to talk about the realities of the trucking industry. And I'm going to do that because my sole mission with all of this is just to help one person every single day who was me 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, or for 3.5 years ago when I filed my LLC in my bedroom in April of 2020, not knowing how the hell I was going to feed my family in a couple of months. And, that mentality is still with me to this day. As things grow, I'm more scared today than I was a couple of years ago when I first started. But as always, I'll unapologetically say this, and I'm a man of faith. I pray every single day, and I know that God has blessed me with a lot of things, and He continues to bless me when that uncertainty starts to creep in. Another thing happens, that just keeps me going down the path that I'm on for the mission that I'm on. But yeah, that's going to lead into the first question for the Q&A day today, which is if you have any sales or operations related questions, drop them in the chat right now and I will answer that live on the show here. Andrew Teal, been fun watching your growth since I think it was about April 2020 when you and I started. Yeah, man, I appreciate you and I appreciate all your support over the years, Andrew. It means the world to me, man, to have somebody like you in my corner. Andrew Teal is another phenomenal follow in the transportation industry. He's one of the smartest guys in freight, hands down. You guys need to check him out. But the first question that I got is, the market is always talked about, right? And I think that there's a heavy emphasis on the market as the scapegoat for underperformance. So the question that I got asked was, how do I get better? What can I do to improve right now for when the market shifts? And, this is one thing that I want to be very, very abundantly clear on. The market is always going to shift no matter what. It happens. It's out of your control as a freight broker. It doesn't matter if you're the number one freight broker, C.H. Robinson, little caveat, you'll be number one until Freight Coach Logistics takes you over in time. Just throwing that out there. No shade. All the respect in the world of C.H. Robinson, but I'm coming for number one. Or you know what? You're the Knight Swift. You're the largest asset trucking company out there. You're not in control of the market. And I think that what you can do is focus on the intangibles of your operation. For me, it's always the little things. It's the blocking and tackling. It's delivering that consistent level of service or communication on every single shipment that my customers deliver to me. And then same thing that I deliver to my carriers at the end of the day. If my carriers are hauling a load for me and my team, they will know that we have called ahead to the shipper. We've called ahead to the receiver. We've verified POs. We've verified piece counts. We've verified pallet counts. We verified that, appointment times, first come, first serve, all of that stuff. We're going to do that every single time because, again, I specialize in open deck and heavy haul. Things change. Job sites change. Locations change. They might not have that equipment that's needed there. And if we don't call ahead and notify them, that's going to hold up my carrier, which puts them in a bad position. And then on top of that, that makes my customer look bad to their customer because that's who they're selling this stuff to. And to me, that's a direct reflection of their operation with my customers, and my customers pay me. And I'm a direct reflection of that. My brand, my company is everything. And I want to deliver that consistent level of service. So I think that's something that you need to focus on in times like right now, because it's going to flip into a carrier market. Like my man, thank God for trucking, who who another great follow. I love the guy's posts and everything. And me and him, we don't always see eye to eye on everything, but I think we have a mutual respect for each other's hustle out there. But he was talking, I saw him put up a post about this yesterday. He's like, I can already tell that the market is changing because brokers are out there talking about the importance of relationships. And, again, for you to be in line with the market is you should always be focused on relationships with your shippers, with your carriers, because as a broker, we're out here just trying to tie these things together every single day. And you need to deliver that consistent level of service that's out there. So if you want to be, you're never immune to the market, but you don't control the market shifts. But what can you control? You need to control your operation. You need to control the level of service that you're putting out there to your carriers and your customers. Because again, you guys, 1A and 1B of importance if you're a broker is your carrier partners and your customer partners. And you need to deliver consistency to them on every single shipment, no matter what is going on in the market. And I think that there's just such an emphasis out there on that for, people who are struggling. I struggle in sales too. I struggle with the mental side of things, the rejection and everything else. But if I'm adding shippers right now in today's market, and how many times out there have you said, oh, nobody's adding shippers, nobody's adding brokers right now, so I'm not going to make that cold call, or I'm not going to offer to go on that site visit or send that email or that DM or whatever that is. If you're doing that, you're coming up with the justification of why you are failing in this moment. And you need to shift that perspective because people are always adding quality. All right. I've been in a part of this industry for almost 15 years, you guys. People always add quality providers because there is never a shortage of quality brokers and quality trucking companies out there, but there is an overabundance of subpar service providers and sales reps who look for a justification on why they're not getting results. At the end of the day, like I said, zero options mentality. You have to make this work. And if you're having trouble right now, which again, I'm not perfect, I struggle with all of this as well, but I can control my communication. I can control calling shippers, calling receivers, calling my carriers, verifying equipment, going through that load process of it on the front end. I talk about this a lot. Take the 30 seconds on the front end of a transaction to save yourself 3 hours on the back end, you guys. The market's always going to be tough. It's always going to be a challenge out there. So if you're a sales rep, if you're a carrier rep, and you're struggling in today's market, whether you're on the asset side or the brokerage side, you need to focus on how can I get better? People are always looking for quality, and you can always improve. And that's one thing that, just because you start a business doesn't mean you're entitled to results. You're entitled to the results when you put in the efforts continuously every single day to get there. And then once you earn somebody's business, you have to fight day in and day out to keep that business, because if you don't, there is going to be somebody who comes in that wants it more than you. So that's my long-winded answer on how do you navigate through market shifts and not insulate yourself from them, but continuously perform throughout them. Henrik, what's going on, man? Appreciate you joining in here. Andrew Teal says, the market is the market. The same as the ocean is what it is. Learn to sail. Good weather and bad means you get to go to neat places. Amen to that. Byron says, the government has frozen veterans' pay as well as Social Security. Shutdown is inevitable. Yeah, and it looks like that is heading in that direction. Let me see here. Adolfo Rodriguez, what is up? The market will continue to shift. As in sports, your consistency of execution will make the difference. That's exactly it. The offensive line's where it's at. Offensive and defensive line, that's where it's at. But they don't get the they don't get their names in the paper. Only the quarterbacks do. Another question that I got in here is, how do you start covering loads when you don't have all the information? How many loads? And then and this is one of those ones that, again, a lot of us start out in the spot market, right? And you're in. I talk about this a lot, is it takes, in my opinion, 15 to 20 shipments with a new customer to really get a feel for each other, right? Their level of their communication methods. And then same thing with carriers when you're building up those relationships is it takes time to build that stuff up. And I think that the most important piece is like when you're going out there and you're working that spot market, right? Because it's like, I need a truck in hand. Um, and for me, it is one of those situations where it's like a lot of us are we're scraping together that first shipment. And so for me, the intangibles get the weight of the shipment. If it's because it depends on the commodity. If it's a dry van shipment, get the weight and the pallet count at least on that, and then shipper city to receiver city. Reefer, get the shipper city, receiver city, commodity and temperature for that. And then for flatbed freight or open deck freight, get out there and get the whether it needs to be tarped, weight, and then shipper city, receiver city on that, and then start selling it based on that. Like you've obviously already quoted it out, so the rate that you're going to start working with. But again, sometimes all the information's not there. Customers are going to come to you with a level 10 emergency that, hey, we need a truck in here right now and we need to make it happen. So that would be my best piece of advice, is how you start covering a load without all the information. Just make sure you have the shipper city, receiver city. It would be awesome if you have the weight, but I think that, as long as you're out there selling it as, 43,000 pounds, and never go lighter, because in my experience, that's a big differentiator out there is, if you're telling somebody, oh, it should be 30,000 pounds and it comes in at 43,000 pounds, it's the lie that makes the people upset. It's not the weight that makes the people upset. So keep that in mind. But again, it's just like, if you don't know, just be honest with people. Hey, we're getting all the information. It's a load of, produce or whatever that is. Generally, they're around 43,000 pounds, maybe 43,500 pounds. I think that you will be okay in that moment to put the information out there and just let them know it's going to be, just base it on the heavier weight, because no one's going to be upset if you tell them 43,000 and it comes in at 38,000, but they're going to be upset if you say it's going to maybe be 30,000 and it comes in at 44,000 pounds. So that's how I would get out there and try and sell this freight without having all the information out there. And then again, honesty is always the best policy. To kind of wrap this question up, I would always say this: let your carriers know, hey, this is a spot market load. My customer just gave me this information. I will get the rest of the information together. It is a go. And I can call you back, and then just make sure you call them back, because, we've dealt with this inside of my brokerage, where it's like, hey, we're putting this together, a same day quote out there. We're trying to find capacity. There's some specifications out there in the load. And then we stay in contact with the carriers, right? Because they have a business to run as well. And if you tell somebody to hold your truck for you and then you don't come through, what if they're waiting an hour or an hour and a half? And then you just don't call them back to let them know. So it's like, for me, just be brutally honest with people, you guys. Again, honesty is the best policy. And if you deliver upon that, I think that you're going to see great results that come along with it. And it's just a different conversation that you have out there. Like, obviously, in a perfect world, we're going to know everything right away, but you know what? That doesn't happen. But again, honesty is going to be your best policy. Another question that I got, and this is a really good one as well, and I kind of just answered it, but I'll go over it again. How many loads does it take with a first customer to get communication down, and how do you speed the process up? This is a good one, and I think that this is one that I go back and forth on all the time, because it depends on the level of the customer. I've had some customers where it's like the first load you move, they have and you find this with a lot of high volume shippers. Like, I have some customers that have whatchamacallit, EDI, everything's down. They have a large network, everything's in there. And the process is pretty cut and dry on how things go in the RFP cycle. But a lot of you probably aren't going to get a lot of access to that freight as a new broker, or even an established broker right away. That takes a lot of time to get up to there. But a lot of it is you're working with small to mid-sized companies, which I personally love working with small to mid-sized companies out there. I love all my customers, but you know what? I appreciate the small to mid-sized businesses out there, because I truly feel like it's a highly underserved segment of the transportation industry. But for me, I think that, have your checklists. If you've okay, I'm going to go into this. You've never sold a shipment in your life, but you just activated your first customer. Always get the pickup address, the delivery address, If there's a PO number, get the commodity, get the weight, and then depending on what style of trailer it's on, get the intangibles. If it's a reefer load, ask for the temperature of the load. If it's a flatbed load or an open deck load, confirm that it needs, again, I'm taking this back to this is the first time you've done it. If it needs straps, does it need edge protectors? Does it need to be tarped? Can it be loaded on a Conestoga? Those are some of those questions that I would ask right away. And then, say they don't have a tendering process that's out there, build up an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document and send that off to your customers so maybe they can fill that out. Because again, don't assume that everybody has provided them with all of those details and paid attention to that stuff, you guys. Take it above and beyond and go above and beyond and ask those questions, because I think that in time, like I said earlier, it takes about 15 to 20 shipments, I think, to get a real good feel for how somebody likes to operate. And then you're always got to be asking yourself, hey, what can I do to improve this transaction to make it more efficient for all of us involved? So that's my response on that. And Andrew Teal does bring up another good one. During the onboarding, ask the question, who is my point of contact? What's the escalation process, and work from there? I agree with that wholeheartedly. I didn't necessarily see the value of that early on in my career, but as I've grown, as I've added more shipments, more customers, things happen, you guys, and you don't want to have a weekend load out there and have something happen to that and not know who to be able to reach out to in those moments, or it's a high visibility, expedited load or something like that. Have all of these conversations on the front end, you guys, because when you do that, it saves you so much time on the back end, and you just look like a more efficient and seasoned veteran in those moments when you're going in there and you're asking pointed questions. I want everything to go perfect, you guys. I truly do. I truly, truly do, but that's not reality. There are delays, things happen, cross-border shipments, paperwork, need the customs, all of that stuff can, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. You want to have those conversations on the front end to save you some time on the back end. But that is going to be it for today, you guys. We are the top ranked transportation podcast out there because of each and every one of you and your continued support. I can't extend my thanks enough to everybody who's believed in me and continues to believe in me on this mission. My friends over at VHub, my friends over at Green Screens, Load Smart, Tie Software, SPI Logistics, some other sponsors that are going to be coming up here soon, but I can't talk about it yet. And then all of you who come back continuously. I appreciate you guys so much for your support to help me on and down this journey in entrepreneurship. So as always, if you guys got value in what you heard today, subscribe to this show, rank it out there, share it out there to your network, because at the end of the day, that's how we grow. That's to help more and more people is because of each and every one of you. And the fact that if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.